So they don't give a crap. Don't bridle these guys.
Yeah. There was basically a mainstream whistleblower, a woman who's like fairly big. She was on CNN and NBC and some other stations like that. And she found out about this, what was happening, went around and tried to, she kind of retired. She went around and tried to get other people to do something about it, to do some reports and stuff on it. And she said she never ever seen anything like it before in her life. She couldn't get anyone to do it. There was a few who were kind of interested, but then their interest immediately just went away for some reason. And she couldn't find out like who was actually, at what point it was being suppressed. But she said she never ever seen a blackout like that ever in the history of journalism.
And that was surrounding which subject?
Aerosol spraying.
Aerosol spraying. Yeah, there is a real blackout, isn't there, about that?
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it at all. Because, I mean, you could look through all the film footage in history before a certain date, you know what I mean, of the sky. Like it was in the 90s sometime, I think, when I started noticing the clouds were, they weren't contrails anymore. And you won't see any of that kind of stuff. But all of a sudden, since then, you see it in
you start seeing
movies
in movies and stuff in the 90s. Yeah.
Right. So.
And what's weird is I've even seen it in cartoons that have been made like in the last 10 years.
No kidding.
They're putting it in children's cartoons, maybe to show them like this is kind of normal.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
They're acclimatizing them to it.
Yeah. I mean, why would you put an aerosol spray trail in the sky in a cartoon? That just doesn't make sense.
I guess if you're evil, it does.
Yeah.
Brainwash them young because they're more malleable that way.
Maybe that's how they got the funding for the cartoon.
They love us ignorant. That's one thing I know. And they do that in a myriad of ways. Confusion is one of them. They disempower us because, if you don't know what the hell inside is up, then you're pretty screwed up. She's mad. She liked chemtrail. Maybe she's making a buck off chemtrail.
She almost hit those people.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Maybe she's high.
She's obviously not a very good driver.
Maybe she's uptight. So, it's not just a surprise, but the system makes me uptight.
Having a bad day. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Oh yeah. Well, you can get a ticket if you cross a crosswalk before somebody's on the other side. You can get a ticket. So.
Yeah. You're actually supposed to wait for them to completely cross, so it's empty before you go.
That's right. A lot of people don't seem to know that, but yeah.
There's another one.
I mean, it might be safe, but you better look around in case there's a cop with a hairpiece behind, because you will get a ticket.
You can get a ticket.
That's right. I appreciate when people stay 5 feet back from a crosswalk or limit line unless they're making a right turn, because high-profile vehicle pulls up to the, you're making a right turn. You can't, it's dangerous. You got to go into the crosswalk for you to see what it's doing.
I didn't get your name. No.
Really?
We get that every once in a while.
But if nobody called the mainstream media, we don't know they wouldn't have come out, right? Because see, that's part of it.
That's true. We should have called them, but we forget to do something.
Maybe the next one. Maybe I had at least mentioned that to Marla. I don't know who. I'm not a good public relations guy.
Neither am I. That's what we need, is somebody who's good at public relations.
I guess I would do it. I mean, if somebody makes the call and they could give a different name and they can talk to me if they show up, I'd rather be surprised by having to talk to these idiots. But, I'm just going to say what we know, and what we know isn't much. So it leaves plenty of room for speculation and conjecture, because what the hell? I mean, all we know is they're doing something, and there's a lot of mysterious dying. A lot of people I'm hearing are getting mysterious respiratory illnesses and dropping dead at very young ages. And
unfortunately, a dozen people on a corner in Chico isn't really newsworthy. Now, if we had 100 people, then there's a good chance they might come out and cover it.
Maybe that's the trick, is try to rally more support to get people out here. Those 2 young guys earlier were, they were interested. So that's what we need, is to get the younger generation motivated. Say, hey, there's something wrong. This is not always the way it's always been, guys. They're not supposed to turn the sky all gloomy at will. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, it's offensive enough. Just it's like litter on the ground. Okay, I'm not okay aesthetically. I'm not okay with litter on the ground. Yeah, I don't care if it's inert, innocuous, or whatever. But we don't know that these things are inert or innocuous. I mean, for all we know,
As far as we can
it's
tell,
deadly.
they are
could
deadly.
Be bio,
Well, even if it's just aluminum, that's really, really, really bad.
Just aluminum. That's right.
Especially if it's nanoparticle aluminum.
Heavy metals, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I never have lived my life like that.
Well, not really. We've got 3 dogs. So, they're good boys, good puppies. We don't mind driving. We don't like next truck driving, but, stay for it. It's not and then we'll stay in Susan.
So
it's only
at some point we're going to have to think about that.
One night we might take it out and go, can you do it for the night?
We'll
We can't make it
we'll
back.
just sell the place or give it to our kids.
That'd be nice.
Going to an old folks home, I guess. We live
Doesn't
that
that sound
long.
awful from being out there to being with all these people?
Yeah, no, I can't really.
Maybe,
it's what I
maybe
tell
kids.
it's
Your
what I
kids
tell
to-
my son. My oldest son is the one that is the most like me as far as the wilderness, love of the wilderness and
Maybe
passion
he
for
can
it.
come
and
live with
everything.
you guys.
I tell him I'm dropping dead on the trail, so you don't have to worry about it. Now I hope I can make that come true, but if I can't, oh well.
What's your problem with chemtrail? I mean, don't they have a right to do what they want with their money? They're spraying the sky with poison.
Well, no, they don't have a right
They
to
don't?
do with what they want because the
That's not
sky
very
is
nice.
not theirs.
It's not.
It belongs to every living thing on this planet. We all need sun, especially trees and vegetation to survive, but we do too. They're seeing that a lot of people in the world are deficient in vitamin D, and they've proven that vitamin D has a lot to do with preventing cancer and many other diseases. And then they're spraying, it's falling onto the soil, and it's contaminating our soil, so we can't grow food, and we're breathing in these nanoparticles that are changing our DNA and possibly breathing in pathogens. So they don't have a right to
What do you say to people that say it's necessary in order to save the climate?
Well, I would ask those people where they got their information, that supposedly that this isn't going on, and it is going on. And even the main people who are doing this are not even sure of exactly what will happen when they do it. So anybody that is convinced that it will save the planet really hasn't done their homework, because no one knows exactly what's going to happen when you throw tons and tons of heavy metals into the atmosphere.
I would agree that they've left all the room for conjecture in the world and speculation because they don't talk about it. There's no accountability.
Right.
There's no oversight.
Well,
but what do you
because-
tell people that say now you're imagining things, you just cuckoo, you're a conspiracy theorist, and it's always been like this? How do you answer people like that?
Well, I mean, the skies haven't always been this way, because I remember how they were when I was a child, although even then there were times that as a child I would see these trails coming off of planes and being told that they were chemtrails, and I don't believe it. They were spraying even then, and that was in the 50s and 60s. And we in the groups we've talked about this, that it's been going on for a long time. There's been a need for the military to control the weather since militaries began. That's been their big dream, and so they're doing more and more of that, or trying to do more and more of that. And they can do things like drought out California, which brings California to its knees, and also a lot of the world. If people are hungry, they're going to be a lot easier to control than people that are well fed and feeling secure.
That's a very good point.
So I'm out here with all these
I gotta
people.
admit, I'm a biased reporter because that's the kind of issues I like to get involved in, and there's ones I feel strongly about. To me, it's annoying as heck because anybody that knows about, if you live in an area that's got a lot of clouds and rainfall and stuff, there's a condition called seasonal affective disorder.
Right.
SAD, you've heard of it. Well, to me, you know what? That's one thing when nature's doing it, but when it's being done artificially, I'm not okay with that. To me, it's artificially induced seasonal affective disorder or unseasonal affective, whatever it is. It's like a form of mind and mood control.
Well, a lot of that is
I'm
lack
not
of
cool with
vitamin
that.
D and a lot of sunlight. We need the full
Right.
spectrum of light
I
to be
agree.
healthy.
But you can do things like you can take vitamin D supplements.
But they don't.
vitamin D3,
But you can do
mushroom.
that, and I do all
I
those
do that,
things.
yeah.
But the way vitamin D assimilates in the body through a pill and the way it assimilates through our skin are completely different. So you
I
may
agree.
thinking that you're getting enough vitamin D and you're still not, because it's not a natural way that the body has been evolved to get its vitamin D is through our skin.
Right. That's right. I mean, even animals, they know to get out in the sun instinctively.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. It just, even wearing clothes is kind of an issue because that blocks out a lot
Right.
of
Well,
vitamin D we would normally
when
get.
because of the spraying, they are shredding our ozone layer, and the index for the UV is out of sight. Even in the winter, who wants to take off their clothes to be in the sunlight?
Right.
So it's a
You don't even
catch-22.
want to be outside. I mean,
No.
we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. If
And
we
but
breathe
this
the
is
air,
all-
we're poisoning ourselves. If we don't breathe, we'll die.
This is all part of the spraying.